Skip it up and that up. So yeah, I'm going there. The Game Awards and Death Stranding and it having 8 nominations, to me seems a little sketchy. Let's get into it. This video is being brought to you by Cutting Edge Gamer. If you upgrade graphics cards often, Cutting Edge Gamer is the perfect option for you. Lease the newest graphics cards on the market, such as Nvidia's RTX 20 series for a low monthly payment. Click the affiliate link below in the description to find out more. So the Game Awards is coming up soon, December 12th, 2019, and the nominees have been released. And Death Stranding, which has been a very polarizing game, has 8 nominations. 8. Those nominations are the Game Award for Game of the Year, the Game Award for Best Narrative, the Game Award for Best Performance, which is Mads Mikkelsen and Norman Reedus, the Game Award for Best Score Soundtrack, Death Stranding, the Game Award for Best Action Adventure, Death Stranding, the Game Award for Best Audio Design, Death Stranding, the Game Award for Best Art Direction, Death Stranding, the Game Award for Best Studio/Game Direction, Death Stranding. That was my drum roll. Now, why is it interesting and sketchy that Death Stranding has 8 nominations at the upcoming Game Awards? Well, because of the relationship between Jeff Keighley and Hideo Kojima, which started back in 2015. In 2015, Kojima's newest game that was with Konami was Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, and it won Best Action Adventure Game, and Konami, just to spite Kojima, wouldn't let him go to receive his award for the game. Instead, it was received by Kiefer Sutherland, who was the voice of Big Boss, and he accepted on Kojima's behalf. And ever since that time, Kojima and Keighley became buddy-buddy. And just because I don't want to make a mistake with this, I'm actually quoting from Kotaku.com. You're making me quote from Kotaku.com, Jeff Keighley. But they're right, they have concerns too, and I have to give Kotaku credit where credit's due for this article. And this is what they had to say about the relationship between Kojima and Keighley and the Game Awards, and how the game getting 8 nominations just seems sketchy. Death Stranding's nominations at the 2019 Game Awards are hard to separate from that series of events, as well as Keighley's ongoing relationship with Kojima. Kojima himself sits as a member of the show's advisory board, which also includes major industry figures such as Nintendo President Doug Bowser, Activision President Rob Kostich, and Microsoft Executive Vice President Phil Spencer. Keighley appears in Death Stranding, which I've talked about before, via likeness as the Ludens fan. Ludens is the name of the astronaut mascot for Kojima Productions. Now because I think it's fairly logical to do, question all the nominations on Twitter that Death Stranding got from the Game Awards. Again, it has 8 nominations, and I just find it fairly suspect. And Jeff Keighley actually responded to me. Now, I wasn't going to make this video because I didn't want to deal with the backlash, but I changed my mind and I deleted those tweets. But Jeff Keighley, I actually screen capped his tweet that he sent to me, and this is what he had to say. I don't select the nominees. Please read the website. So I took Jeff's advice and went and read the FAQ over at the Game Awards, and this is what it says about its judges. Nominees for categories of the Game Awards are chosen by an international jury of 80 global media and influencer outlets, selected for their history of critical evaluation of video games. The full list of outlets is available here. I'll get to that in a second. Each voting outlet completes a confidential, unranked ballot based on the collective and diverse opinion of its entire editorial staff, listing out its top 5 choices in each category. Ballots are tabulated, and the 5 games that appear on the most ballots are put forth as nominees. In the event of a tie, 6 or more nominees will be announced in a category. Game Awards producer Jeff Keighley is not a member of the jury and does not vote on the nominees. Okay, cool. And they actually list all of the journalism companies and media outlets from the different companies that partake in which games get nominated. Great. But one of those is a red flag to me, and I just want to make sure it's still there. It is Famitsu. I checked this the other day to make sure Famitsu is there. Now, why is Famitsu a big deal? They're a Japanese publication. They review games all the time. Well, they had the former editor-in-chief over there had a connection to Death Stranding. He appeared as a cameo in the game. That person who appeared as a cameo in the game is Harakuza Hamamara. Like I said, he was the former editor-in-chief over at Famitsu, and he's now the president of its publisher, Enterbrain. And here's the funny thing. Famitsu gave Death Stranding a top score, 40 out of 40, perfect score. And from the Eurogamer article I'm getting all this info from, they have this in there as well. Hamamura has cameoed in 2 other games which also received perfect scores. Peace Walker, which was made by Kojima as well, and Japan-only Wii game 428 Shibuya Scramble. Now, if Hamamura just appeared in Death Stranding and that was the only game that got a perfect score that he appeared in, fine, I get it. But there's 2 other times this happened with Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker and 428 Shibuya Scramble. And he appeared in those 2 games, and those 2 games just so happened to get perfect scores as well. And keep in mind, in the past 30 years, only 26 games have received top scores from Famitsu. You see how you keep going down the rabbit hole with this and how things just get stranger and more interesting? And Famitsu, like I said, is on the panel to choose what games get nominated for Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Come on, man. Look, I'm not even saying that Death Stranding is a good or bad game. That has nothing to do with it. Even if it was a game I loved, absolutely adored, I would still question it. I could still be objective and put my bias aside, okay? Dying Light, I think, should have gotten like a 90 on Metacritic. It didn't. It's one of my favorite games of this generation. But if the same thing happened with Dying Light and it was nominated for Game of the Year and there were all these tie-ins with the developers and Jeff Keighley and Famitsu, so on and so forth, I would be screaming at the top of the hills. Look, I understand that Kojima had a tough time at Konami towards the end and all the stuff that happened, like with the Game Awards of 2015, how they blacklisted him from going there to accept an award just to sling mud at him. I understand. But if this was any other developers with all, like, say EA made Death Stranding and it was a different director behind it, it wasn't Kojima, and you had all these different tie-ins. You had the director of Death Stranding under EA, okay, was really close with Jeff Keighley. All right. Famitsu reviewed the EA game, had the former editor-in-chief as a cameo in the game, and Famitsu didn't disclose that the former editor-in-chief was in the game, because in Famitsu's review of Death Stranding, they did not disclose that Harukazu Hamamura was in there. They didn't, which that's kind of sketchy too, okay? Now just take all the things I'm saying that sound questionable, put how you feel about Kojima aside, and put another, like I said, publisher and developer in there. People would be screaming and losing their minds. They would be absolutely losing their minds. Because look, fine, it could be that these are all coincidences, and it just so happens that Death Stranding is loved by enough people that are the reviewers that are on this committee, that it did genuinely get these awards. But what I'm saying is, though, any other developer, publisher out there who had all of these different connections, who had all these different things going on that are questionable, people on YouTube who I know, and I'm going to call you out, you would be talking crap right now. You would have, if EA was involved in this, you would have 8,000 videos a day up about EA. Oh, EA has ties in with Keighley. EA has ties in with Famitsu. I'm not defending EA. EA has done a bunch of shady crap, and I've called them out before. But I feel because it's Kojima, he's getting a pass on all these things that no other company would get a pass on. I feel like there's a double standard. They're like, it's Kojima, give him a pass. Oh, he's friends with Jeff Keighley and he get 8 nominations for his game at the Game Awards, give him a pass. Oh, he had the Famitsu former editor-in-chief in his game, and in the Famitsu review, they didn't mention that he was a cameo in the game. Give him a pass. It's just all there, man. And what bothers me is that the YouTubers out there who are, I call them the White Knight Crusaders on YouTube, who sit there and look for evil where evil doesn't exist, they're not talking about this. And you know why you're not talking about it? All the people who put up bad news videos all day. Look, I used to be one of them, and I still talk about it because there's a bunch of bad crap that happens in the industry. But you're not talking about Death Stranding and all the sketchy ties it has to the Game Awards because you're afraid to. Because you know it's not what the masses want you to talk about. I've even seen people that I know I'm speculating, fine, I won't say I know for a fact, that if the game was made by another developer, they would have probably crapped on it. And look, I'm not saying that Death Stranding, I know I'm going to sound like I'm conflicting with what I just said. I'm not even saying it's a bad game. Like I'm saying, if Dying Light, which is a game I love, had all of these same tie-ins to Jeff Keighley and to Famitsu and everything like that, I would call it out too, even if I love the game. It's just funny to me, and if you ignore all the ties that Kojima has to the Game Awards and everything else, you're just being a blind fanboy. I'm not telling you to hate Death Stranding. You could genuinely love it, but you can't turn a blind eye to all the things going on here. This is Rich at Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.